Running across in front.
The man is in the house. Michael Beasley, the leading scorer in the Big 12, the sensational freshman leading the Wildcats into Fog Allen, trying to sweep the Jayhawks.
Welcome to College Game Day, driven by State Farm.
Kansas State is going to upset the second-ranked Kansas Jayhawks. The Wildcats have ended the streak. They're rushing the board. It's over. Kansas State has upended Kansas.
It was the first time in 24 years the Wildcats have beaten the Jayhawks in Manhattan. Before the season, Michael Beasley said, we're going to beat KU at home. We're going to beat them at their house. We're going to beat them in Africa. Wherever we play, we're going to beat them. And believe me, the people in Lawrence have not forgotten those quotes. Michael Beasley has put up a fabulous season in his first in Manhattan. Over 26 points, 12 rebounds per game, both leading the Big 12. You'll see Beasley and the Wildcats going against Kansas coming up in just a little while. Kansas chasing Texas in the Big 12, hoping to get a share of the lead. Rick Barnes' team on the road against Texas Tech, and Texas Tech building a 10-point lead, getting out quickly, Jay.
They were very efficient offensively. They shared the ball. They shot 43 free throws in this game, a sign of offensive efficiency when you can run your offense and get fouled.
66-56, huge day for the Red Raiders. Zeno knocking down a three, 75-68. Texas coming right back, and A.J. Abrams making it rain. 75-71, remaining with the steal, and Augustine with the bucket. 77-73. Augustine had 30 on the game, going strong, Hubert.
Well, he's absolutely one of the best point guards in the country, along with Darren Collison. He was huge tonight, shooting from the perimeter and also driving into the lane.
81-77, closing ticks. Texas knocking down the three from the corner, but Alan Bosco outstanding from the free throw line the entire game. Knocked them down, hit every free throw he took, 10 for 10, and in an 83-80 game at the end.
Don't let him shoot the three. Give him two. You win this game. Bosco making 6 straight free throws. Yeah, they get a chance to make this, but you're a risk taker. You get it done. Great move by Pat Knight to steal this game.
J.D. Lewis had a look, so did Ashley, but Texas Tech beat Texas 83-80, and as a result, now the Jayhawks of Kansas with an opportunity to pull into a tie with Texas for the lead in the Big 12. Glad to have you with us from the Fog. College Game Day rolling. Dick Vitale's here, Hubert Davis, Digger Phelps, Jay Billis. I'm Reese Davis. You're all excited, ready to roll. You're going to get to see Beasley tonight, right?
Wow, Michael Beasley. You know, everybody's asking, who do you take, Durant or Beasley? Hey, that's like Jessica Alba or Jessica Biel. How could you go wrong? Either one of them. It's like Willie Mays and Mickey Mantle. You can't lose with either guy.
There are no losers when you have those types of choices. And I tell you what, not many losers in a great day of basketball games. Let's get cranked up with some teams struggling on the road. North Carolina going in to take on Boston College, a BC team that was down close to the bottom of the ACC. The Tyrese Rice and the Eagles were feeling it. Let me tell you something, Hubert. Shooter got loose in the first half.
All over the place, off of pick and rolls in transition. North Carolina did not do a good job defensively. He's the one guy that could beat you in the first half. He did. He had 8 3-pointers in the first half.
He had 34 points in the first half. It's a career high in the first half. In the second half, Rice going right back to work, stealing it away, putting it home. Rice now with a floater in the lane, Jay.
Well, he's got every shot in the book. The left-hander can make floaters on the drive. He can pull back. He's got unlimited range, and they let him get started. But in the second half, it was North Carolina that wore down Boston College. Danny Green with the three.
Danny Green had 18 points, and North Carolina had it to single digits. Carolina continuing to claw its way back into the game. Wayne Ellington.
Ellington had a big half. Making 20 points for this game. Their depth came through and getting 16 points off of 12 offensive rebounds helped inside.
Good cut by Marcus Ginyard. Boston College's 18-point lead had been trimmed to 1, and Carolina had the lead, but Rice wasn't done. He had 40, but Green would have another answer.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. North Carolina got good news as well as Green knocks down the big one. Good news in that Ty Lawson is back playing, even though he's only at 90%.
The turnover for Boston College going the other way. Ellington, thank you very much. And Carolina now 14 at the half, up 12 with a lot of time to go. Rice would go on to finish a sensational day. 46 points, but not nearly enough. 90-80, North Carolina gets the victory. And look at the difference on defense, particularly in the second half for North Carolina as opposed to the first half.
Well, I think in the first half, they took a deep breath and said, wow, Ty Lawson's here. We don't have to play any defense. And I think they understand, regardless if you have Ty Lawson or not, you have to commit yourself to the defensive end. They held him for 18% from three-point range. And remember, Rice didn't have a three-pointer in that second half.
Rice did finish up with 46 to put his day into perspective. The second highest total in a game this season. Rob McKeever of Houston had 52. And against North Carolina, he very nearly had the most prolific day ever by a Tar Heel opponent. 46 points for Rice, just a couple short of Dick Gross' record 48. Speaking of the Blue Devils, Mike Krzyzewski looking for victory number 800. Brian Zubek starting to get more time for the Blue Devils with Courtney Fells there to sneak up from behind and block his shot. Ben McCauley would work hard inside, Jay.
Well, Ben McCauley's a very good back-to-the-basket player, and he's a really good passer from that position. When J.J. Hicks is not in there, that's when they slide McCauley down low.
Greg Paulus knocking down the three. He was 5 of 9 from behind the arc. John Shire hit one.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Shire's been outstanding off the bench all year long.
Second half, North Carolina State still hanging on to the lead, up by 8. Javier Gonzalez, not known as a scorer. He had 18 on the day for Sidney Lowe's team. Next possession, McCauley, another jumper. K's team is down by 13, but then Duke mounts a run. Digger with the 3 ball.
Yes, they do. They start shooting a barrage of 3. They make 13 out of 28, but they also got 23 points off of 17 NC State turnovers.
Duke went on a 16-5 run. Nelson draining one from the corner. Just like that, the Blue Devils right back in the mix. Under 2 minutes to play. Henderson kicked to Paulus. 3. Can't leave the shooters open. Tied at 85. DeMarcus Nelson free throw gave Duke the lead. And McCauley, who had a fine day with 19 points, committed a turnover there. Duke would then run down most of the clock. Shire pushed one up late, but Jay, really not a lot of time then for NC State to get anything done.
Well, in choosing not to foul, once you get the rebound, you've only got 4 seconds to go the length of the court, so not a particularly good decision, but what a great comeback for Duke. 800 wins now for Mike Krzyzewski.
And it puts him in some elite company as if he wasn't there already. Mike Krzyzewski reaching the 800-win plateau. In a bigger picture, aside from the 800 victories, Dick, Duke's had a little bit of problems on the road of late. They lost a couple recently. They were able to fight back and win this one. What's the impact of getting a road win like that?
Well, you know, Reese, first of all, they beat a team they should beat. When you look at NC State, not very strong on the perimeter, strong inside. However, we could find flaws with every team out there. You look, for example, Memphis, flaw, Joey Dorsey. Don't know if he's going to come to play, shooting free throws. You can talk about teams, Kansas on the road, a little bit of a flaw. Everybody's got flaws. Duke's problem, you guys have documented it, very little on the interior. They rely on a perimeter game. But think about this, 1,702 wins between the mentor and the pupil when you talk about Bob Knight and Mike Krzyzewski. And who would have ever believed that our future colleague, and I only hope he gives me a chance to say some words, Mr.
I don't
Knight,
think that'll be a problem.
Who would have ever believed when he walked into Mike Krzyzewski's house and recruited him that the two of them would be looking at 1,700 wins as coach.
Now, Bob Knight's going to join us in March for the championship run. We've just started up March right now. Jay, this is the team Duke should have handled, and ultimately, regardless of what the final score was, they were able to do so.
Well, and they made a great comeback. And on the road, that says a lot about a team and how resilient they are. And this is a team that last year didn't have a ton of success for them. Now, they won 22 games. For most people, that's a celebration. For Duke, it's not a great year. But this year, behind DeMarcus Nelson, I don't think you could say enough about the senior leadership of DeMarcus Nelson. I think Nelson is having an All-America type season. Duke knocked down 13 threes in the ballgame, scored 69 points between three-point shots and free throws, and they only turned the ball over 8 times. Their turnover differential has been the difference for them.
Duke had to pull it out down the stretch. North Carolina, on the other hand, just put the hammer down at the start of the second half. What do you make of the way they came out in the first half defensively, though?
Well, I will say it again. I thought in in the first half, they looked at Ty Lawson, they took a deep breath, and they said, okay, we've got a starting point guard back. Now we're going to outscore teams. And we've talked about it, that North Carolina needs to have a defensive mentality, not an offensive mentality. In the second half, that's what they did. They still were able to score points. Down low with Tyler Hansbrough, outside with Danny Green and Wayne Ellington. But defensively, they held them defensively from three-point range, made them contested shots, and I thought that was the difference between North Carolina. They're going to have to do that if they want to make a run at a national championship, Coach.
But just to get Lawson out there today to play 20 minutes, that was big. He had 4 assists. He went 1 for 5 shooting. Let him get back in the flow. 3 things happen in an injury. 1, you got to get healthy. 2, you got to get your game back. 3, you got to get playing with your team. He did that today. Duke's issue is their defense. Their losses to Wake Forest and Miami on the road, they gave up an average of 91 points a game. Today, they give up 86 points. Why? Teams are spreading them out. They don't have a presence inside. So defensively, this has become an issue for Duke, giving up easy points.
I'll tell you one thing, Digger. They can score, but I agree with Mr. Davis. Unless they tighten it up defensively to win 6 in a row against quality people, that's when you get bucked. However, they will be number 1 now, and I think the great news is they have Lawson back, and next week, not only for the ACC championship, but could be for the number 1 seed in Charlotte, playing Raleigh, playing Charlotte, and never get on a plane.
Could be the first of 2 meetings in a little over a week with the ACC tournament looming as well. Couple of crazy finishes in the Big East. First, Georgetown and Marquette this afternoon, a game that the Golden Eagles seem to have in pretty good shape. JT3 and the Hoyas were going for their 4th straight. Roy Hibbert working it inside and 1. Tied it at 35 after the free throw, but some good defense turned in by Marquette.
Well, Marquette is a terrific defensive team. They get into passing lanes, and you can see they create turnovers, able to get into the open court and get easy transition points.
And Patrick Ewing Jr. cutting Jonathan Wallace, Jay.
Well, they run their offense so efficiently, and they got a few backdoor cuts. They shot 61% in that second half, while they held Marquette to just 26%. That's what ultimately won it.
Big fella Roy Hibbert had 20 on the night, under a minute to go. In the second half, tied at 59. Dominic James, no. Dwight Burke, yes, his only field goal of the game, and 1. Great possession. Marquette had a 2-point lead. Under 10 seconds to go in regulation. Jonathan Wallace coming across with his team down by 3. Digger is screaming to foul, but not here.
You can't foul when he's shooting the 3 because now he gets the chance to shoot the 3. Foul him when he crosses half court. He shoots 2 free throws like Memphis did what? Losing last week. He makes the first, makes the second, the third goes in.
Of course he did. He's Georgetown's all-time leading free throw shooter. 83%. We'd go to overtime, tied at 63. And this time, Wallace would get 3 in more conventional way. Friendly Saturday banking hours in Milwaukee. Being tied at 66, under 10 seconds to go. Marquette down by a deuce. James has his pass knocked away, and the Hoyas escape 70-68, beating Marquette and pulling one out of the fire. Pittsburgh and Syracuse. Dante Green and Hughes on the bubble. Started the game wearing the headband. Had a little bit of a tough first half, so if you have the tough first half, you got to change the look. Only 6 in the first half, Orange by 2 at the break. Second half, as mentioned. See, this will help your jump hook, your headband, right?
That's what I'm going to just wear a headband.
Here's Green, 17 of his 23 coming in the second half. Just over a minute to go. Pittsburgh trails by 4. This is after Syracuse had an 11-point lead with under 4 minutes to go. And all of a sudden, Gilbert Brown brings the Panthers to within 1. Cuse up by 1. Here goes Brown again. Side of the backboard, he's trying to get a foul call. And Pitt still down by 1. Syracuse has the 1-point lead. They're inbounding the ball. It was 15 seconds left. Paul Harris gets trapped on the baseline, Jake.
Well, I thought he got fouled on this possession. He wound up turning the ball over. Keith Benjamin gets the score. And remember, Syracuse has timeouts here. They didn't use the timeout. They didn't get to the rim. Wound up getting a shot in the corner that was contested and ultimately wound up losing the game. But it looked to me like Paul Harris got fouled there. There was contact in a situation usually where a foul gets called late in the game. But the short answer is he's got to be stronger with the ball in that situation. Syracuse caught the ball up too easily and wound up losing as a result.
Sam Young had the steal and 19 points. He had the assist to Keith Benjamin, who finished with 17. And Pittsburgh dealt a costly blow to Syracuse's hope of making it to the NCAA tournament. Now 2 games under 500 in the Big East. Strength of schedule is great. Some of the other numbers not so much. Boeheim was not pleased after the game with the way things came apart at the end.
It's the most disappointing game I've ever been involved with. It's to play that well. We really haven't played well in a long time, and to play that well against a very good defensive team was a tremendous accomplishment. But the entire game we kept turning it over, and at the end when we had the lead and just had to take care of the basketball, we made 3 just unbelievable turnovers, and that's the game. Nothing more to say about it. Thank you.
Absolute heartbreaking loss for Syracuse, one that could weigh very heavily on Selection Sunday. It might come down to how they handled, in this case, the end-of-game situation.
Well, it was a killer for them, and I think it was a killer mentally more than anything else. They're still in good shape with games remaining, so they can still do it. But it wasn't just that end-of-game play where Paul Harris, in my judgment, got fouled. Now, he wasn't strong enough with the ball. When you catch the ball in a late-game situation, you have to expect contact. He catches it here, turns his head, he doesn't chin it, he tries to dribble it, wound up losing it. Was there contact? I thought there was. I thought there was enough to call a foul. But earlier on, they coughed the ball up, and then look, he's right on his back. Sam Young knocks into him. That's a foul. They just didn't call it. You have to be stronger there, but that wasn't it. Earlier on, they threw the ball right to Ronald Ramon when they had 4 timeouts with the ball out of bounds underneath. And Dante Green needed to know they had 4 timeouts. That's a freshman mistake. It's poised at the end of a game. When you've got a young team, those things happen.
Well, I agree with you. I think, when you look at Syracuse, this was a team that was playing terrific basketball. They were driving the basketball, creating shots on the perimeter, and then they stopped. About 5 minutes ago in the game, they were up by 11 points, and Johnny Flynn was just playing great basketball, getting in the middle of the lane. It looked like they were playing not to lose, not playing to win the basketball game. So we can look at those late-game situations, but it started late in the second half where they didn't continue to play. I think that caused them to break down at the end of the game.
You know what's funny is people have always criticized Jim Boeheim for that, the idea that he takes his foot off the gas, tries to reduce possessions at the end of the game. But most of the time they win as a result of that because they execute. If they don't turn the ball over at the end of that game, then it's great strategy. Doesn't matter what strategy you have, if you don't execute it properly, you wind up losing.
And the strategy that Digger always extolled in the end of the game situation, your team is up 3, waning seconds. You always want to send the opposing team to the free throw line, but not necessarily the way it unfolded in the Georgetown Marquette game.
Well, I think coaches have got to be risk takers. We saw that last week when Bruce Pearl, up 3, decides to foul Derrick Rose when he goes their half court. What's that do? You're up 3, you let them put in that position to score what? Put it go down, making things happen inside. This is when they make that play right there, foul him. He shoots 2, he makes 2. What? They win the game. Today we saw it happen. Here comes Jonathan Wallace. Foul him now. No, he goes in the corner. You foul him while he shoots a 3. They go overtime and lose. Tom Crean made that choice. Didn't foul. They end up with a loss in overtime.
All right, what do you do in this situation? It's a divided opinion sometimes. Up 3, do you foul?
Well, I agree with Digger said. I think you got to take a chance. Bruce Pearl did it, and he came out a victor. I have no problem with less than 7 seconds on the clock to foul in that situation. I thought it was, I agree with Jack. I mean, I'm not a referee. I'm sitting watching on TV here. That was clearly a foul there in that situation. Clearly a foul. Heartbreaking loss for Jimmy Boeheim. That's going to be crushing for his kid.
You know what's funny about that? In the Georgetown-Villanova game, when they called that foul at the end of the game and Jonathan Wallace, they said a foul at the beginning of the game is a foul at the end. All right, that was a foul. On this one, they'll say, wait a minute, it was late in the game, and you got to get used to a little bit of contact in that. Yeah, you can't do that at the end of a game. You can't have it both ways either for referees. If one's a foul, the other's a foul too. They've got to be consistent in end-of-game situations as well.
That game is certainly devastating to Syracuse. Hey, what about the game tonight?
We've got one coming up. Kansas State and Kansas. Ready to call it with Dan Shulman. Get a look at Mr. Beasley.
I talked to Bill Self a few minutes ago. He said this place will be more juiced than any game he has ever coached here. He said his players emotionally, not because they lost, the way they lost, he said they were pounced on. physically, Kansas State whipped our butt. And Mr. Beasley didn't help a little bit with some of his quotes. But you know what? I got a funny feeling. He can talk the talk. He can walk the walk. Hey, I got a question for all these guys. Who's player of the year? Beasley or Hansbrough?
Beasley's probably the better prospect. I would give Hansbrough player of the year for what he's done with Ty Lawson out. And that kid has not taken a play off all year long. I would give it to Hansbrough.
Now, see, I didn't go to Duke.
Wait.
Can
we
answer your question? I can't spell Duke. I'm a dummy, but I agree with you. I told Bill Self that. The best player in the country.
Can you and I play in your game? You asked the three of us a question. We're going Hansbrough. We're going Hansbrough. You're going over there and start the game. Will you get ready? If this place is juiced up, will you get juiced up and do a great game tonight?
Dick Vitale will call the game tonight with Dan Shulman.
Wait. I want to message to Bobby Knight. He will get no airtime at all sitting where Digger's sitting.
Yes, they will, because I'm leaving.
You're leaving? Well,
Say goodnight, Dick.
I got to go.
I'm not sure I'm going to get any more airtime tonight.
Good night, Richie.
Dick Vitale with Dan Shulman. Coming up, top of the hour, Kansas State here in the Fog to take on Kansas. I thought you guys were going to throw for a minute. Digger, much of the way Memphis, another issue. We'll tell you what happened with the Tigers when they went on the road in Conference USA against Southern Mississippi and Texas. We told you what it means for Kansas now that the Horns went down in Lubbock. An opportunity for the Jayhawks to pull into a tie for the Big 12 lead with Texas and Washington State and Stanford, a couple of Pac-10 powers. Just how good is the Cardinal?
College Game Day is driven by State Farm. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. And in part by the first ever G8 from Pontiac, the official performance machines of the NCAA.
Back at the Fog, the Jayhawk faithful eagerly awaiting Michael Beasley coming onto the floor for Kansas State. That's coming up at the top of the hour. Wildcats, Jayhawks, Sunflower State showdown. Memphis and Southern Mississippi, just as he has a couple of weeks ago, Joey Dorsey involved in an altercation pregame and had to be separated. Southern Miss was hanging tough. Craig Kraft drains the three. Southern Mississippi had a lead, a little over 10 minutes to go. And then Derrick Rose went off, scored 11 points in a 5-minute span. Many of them coming on three-pointers. Memphis stretching out its lead. Rose finishing with 23, 76-67 the final as Memphis beats Southern Mississippi 1 week after losing to Tennessee in front of College Game Day. Glad to have you along with us, working our way toward Kansas and Kansas State. Of course, one of the power conferences in the country this year has been the Pac-10. UCLA might be the class of that conference. The question is Stanford right there with them? The Cardinal taking on Wazoo. And Hubert, Wazoo got off to a pretty good start, but then with Derek Lowe hitting the shot. And then the outstanding Cardinal, Anthony Twitty, thought he got fouled there, and so too is Brent Johnson. Johnson ended up getting called for a technical foul.
Well, you look at Washington State, they got off to a hot start because of Derek Lowe from the perimeter. He was outstanding shooting from the outside. But in the second half, you look at Stanford, got the ball down low to the post of Brooke and Robin Lopez. And these guys played so well together. Nice passing inside and out.
Brooke with the shorter hair, the bigger offensive game. Robin, the wild hair, and the good look and the dive to the basket.
Well, Washington State was committed to double teaming down low on the post, and it was great execution, playing out of the double team, making them pay for double teaming down on the post. Easy points down low in the paint.
And Washington State had an 11-point lead at halftime. They got Lopez in the second half. Goods from the outside, working the window. Robin got a hand on it, and then Brooks flushed it. 25 points, 19 coming in the second half. 60-53. Stanford rallies for the home win. USC and Arizona State, O.J. Mayo averaging over 21 points per game against James Harden, another sensational freshman. Harden in transition.
Well, James Harden, who had a terrific game, 24 points. He's a lefty, can really get to the rim, but O.J. Mayo had another spectacular game. I think this freshman, if anything, has been under-publicized this year for his play. He has gotten better. He's become a better teammate. 37 points for Mayo, and here's Harden in transition. This kid is an outstanding athlete that's really learning how to play.
USC was going for the desert sweep, having already won in Tucson, but James Harden wasn't going to have any of it. He hit from deep and then off the move.
Well, Harden can do everything. He can shoot it. He can put the ball on the deck. So explosive. And this Arizona State team, very good defensively. They play a lot of matchup zone. They've got size. Jeff Pendergraft at 21 points, 9 rebounds. This is an NCAA tournament team.
There's another great move from Mayo. Pendergraft with the finish. Arizona State wins it by 14, 80-66. So now this is what the Sun Devils resume looks like. They're at 500 in the Pac-10. They have some solid wins, including a sweep of their cross-state rival, Arizona. Let's play a little in or out with the Sun Devils. Arizona State, Hubert, in or out?
Yeah, I've got Arizona State in. 4 wins in the top 25, now 8-8 in the Pac-10, the toughest conference in conference basketball, and a big win against a USC team that had won 3 games in a row, Coach.
They're in. They had a big win today against Southern Cal. That really helps to go with that resume of beating Stanford, Xavier, and Arizona twice. Big time, getting it done. 34-10 at the free throw line.
They were in this morning. How could they be out now? They're in. Arizona State has had a very solid season. People can complain about they've lost 8 out of their last 11. It's been against good competition. Arizona State's dancing.
Arizona State might be playing its way to the positive side of the bubble. The Big 12 teams might be going the other way. Oklahoma and Texas A&M, Blake Griffin hurt himself, and Kansas still wearing a brace on that knee. He got tangled up with Brian Davis. He's limping. Grabbed it. He would return with braces on both knees, and big fella's been outstanding.
Yeah, he just goes inside. He's got a lot of confidence. Obviously, 13.8 rebounds today.
But the real issue in this game was not Oklahoma, but Texas A&M's ineptitude. A Big 12 record low, 10 points in the first half. They shot 18%. Figured they went on a scoreless drought, especially in the second half of over 16 minutes.
How about 13 for 51 for the game, 25%, 2 for 16, 2 threes.
In the second half, and A&M is barely in double figures with 10. Davis got him to 12. First point to be the 16-minute 12 or second scoring drought. Almost unfathomable NCAA record for the longest scoring drought in the shot clock era. Griffin taking it himself. Oklahoma hanging an ugly one on A&M, 64-37. Now the Sooners are looking pretty good. They'd had a couple of struggling offensive games. Great strength of schedule. Oklahoma in or out?
I have Oklahoma in this morning. I got them in right now. Great strength of schedule despite injuries to key players. 6 wins in the top 50, 7-7 now in the Big 12, and a huge win against a good Texas A&M team.
They are in. This is the win they needed, and actually their last 2 losses, they only scored 45 points, but now they hold A&M to 37 points.
I had him in this morning. I've got him in again this evening. I think Oklahoma has enough solid wins to make a great case to get in. They played a very difficult schedule. Now, granted, Texas A&M was horrible in offense. That's not Oklahoma's fault. They won.
Might be playing Texas A&M back into that bubble discussion with many more performances like that. Our bubbles bursting across the country. You know, sometimes you don't have to rely on resumes and numbers. You just have to play your way in or play your way out. And it's Digger's favorite word, payback. Can Kansas get it against Kansas State tonight?
You have to be here. You're watching College Game Day, driven by State Farm.
And here come the Jayhawks. Kansas with an opportunity opportunity to move into a tie for first place in the Big 12. On a larger scale, the Jayhawk faithful believing that this could be a team that wins the national championship. The stars are out. Gale Sayers is here. Of course, Danny Manning, a member of the staff who 20 years ago led Kansas to the national title. And the sensational freshman from Kansas State, Michael Beasley, who leads the Big 12 in scoring. And Beasley has just put up ridiculous numbers in his first season in Manhattan. 24 double-doubles. That's an NCAA Division I freshman record, one short of the Big 12 record held by Kansas' Drew Gooden. Most points in a single game in Big 12 history, gave 44 to Baylor. 11 times he's gone for 30 or more, and 3 times he has gone for 40-plus, and the nation's leading rebounder has put together 3 40-point, 10-rebound games, and we're looking forward to seeing him coming here in a crowd that is ready for him, as we're saying that they were going to win in Manhattan. They'd win here, they'd win in Africa, if that's where they had to play the Jayhawks. You know these guys, Hugh Digger and Jay here, working our way toward the top of the hour. Kansas State and Kansas coming up in just a little while. Kansas State probably on the right side of that bubble. We've got plenty of teams, though, who have work to do a little over 2 weeks away from Selection Sunday. In the SEC, Vanderbilt's in good shape. Arkansas coming off a tough loss to Alabama that hurt their hopes of making the tournament. A.J. Ogilvie inside and won. Commodores down 1 after the break. Patrick Beverly has just been outstanding.
Yeah, he hit 5 for 7 threes after going 2 for 11 in the field the other night. That loss to Alabama, 17 points.
69-65 game, and here comes Shane Foster, Vanderbilt's all-time leading scorer. 120 seconds to go. Foster coming off the screen, hits another one.
Yeah, he hit 6 threes, gets it done.
Doors down by 1, but after a couple of free throws, made it a 3-point game. Look at what Ross Neltner did. He went on Chris Webber on the people and called timeout. He got teed up, and Arkansas beats Vanderbilt by 5, 78-73. So let's get it cranked up. Now, in or out, what do you think about Arkansas?
Well, guess what, Jay? I had them out in the morning, and 8 hours later, guess what? I have them in. 6 wins in the top 50, 7-7 in the SEC. They beat a Vanderbilt team that won 7 straight SEC games.
I have them in. They're 8-6, quality wins in the league. Big win over Vanderbilt. Jay, I have them in.
I have them in, too. I had them in this morning, and I'm consistent.
So we've got all 3 in for the Hogs after their big win. Mississippi State, they're in good shape, too, but road win in Florida wouldn't hurt. The Gators, meanwhile, really couldn't afford a loss. Tyler Hansbrough's little brother, Ben Hansbrough, helping out with the Bulldogs. Jamont Gordon has been just outstanding.
Well, they're a terrific defensive team. Jamont Gordon actually didn't have a good game, but Ben Hansbrough, Tyler Hansbrough, brother, stepped up 20 points and 4 from 3-point range.
And Barry Stewart hit one from 3. Stansbury's Dogs up a dozen at the break. He's celebrating his 20th birthday. No, Super Yo!
Get that out of here!
No.
Bernardo leads the country in block shots, and not only does he block shots, he keeps it in bounds. What a great shot blocker.
He had 7 blocks on the night to go with 11 points, 11 rebounds, and there's some offense. 68-59. Mississippi State wins in Gainesville. So now Florida, despite the 21 wins, nothing on the strength of schedule as Billy Donovan tried to get the young Gators ready for the SEC season. 1 top 50 win. Gators in, Gators out.
Yeah, I've got Florida out. They played a weak non-conference schedule, only 1 win in the top 25. There are 8-6 in the SEC still, but they still got Tennessee and Kentucky left on their schedule, Coach.
I had them in this morning, out tonight. They needed this win at home, a quality win against Mississippi State team. They didn't get it done, and from that standpoint, they got work to do, even though they're 8-6 in the SEC, but RPI 51, they're fading back.
Yeah, right now they're on the outside looking in. They did play a weak non-conference schedule, but that was designed to get these young kids some confidence and to learn while winning. What they needed to do was handle their SEC schedule better. There's still some time as they head toward the tournament.
Another team from the Sunshine State might be in better shape. Miami taking on Virginia. Arena officials thought the game to be rescheduled because the hoop wasn't level. They never stopped the real shooter, did
I want to know who figured that out.
You got to go out to the Home Depot, get some tools. 1:30 left in the second half. UVA was down. Sean Singletary hits the 3. Then Virginia down by 4. And Cavs get within 1, Jay.
Well, Virginia continues to keep fighting. Their record is not very good, but Sean Singletary, one of the best players in the country. Mikalauskis has come back from injury. He's given them some toughness.
Marinas Mikalauskis brought him close, but Lance Hurdle drained the 3 from the corner, and Miami hangs on to 93. So now the Hurricanes have reached the 20-win mark. They are at 500 in the ACC. They have a victory over Duke. They have a win at Mississippi State. Jay, do you have them in or out right now?
They were in before this. I think they are going to get in. I don't think they have too much to worry about down the stretch.
Miami appears to be in good shape with a good strength and stretch fuel and the strong RPI. Here at Bog Allen Fieldhouse, we're about 25 minutes away from tip-off. The Jayhawks hoping to avenge an earlier loss to Kansas State in Manhattan. You see them warming up. It is going to be a raucous atmosphere in one of the great venues in college basketball. Guys on Tobacco Road had a little trouble away from their home gyms, but came through in sparkling fashion late. We'll show you how they did it. And North Carolina offset a near record day. And Michael Beasley has put up just sick, whack numbers, the kids used to say. Beasley and what he has in store for Kansas coming up in a bit. College Game Day presented in spectacular high definition. You'll be able to see the game, Kansas State and Kansas in HD as well. It's a good way to get a look at Michael Beasley, one of the great freshmen in the country this year.
Beasley taking it to another level.
Derrick Rose put on his shoulders. A little bit of Eric Gordon. Look at one. O.J. Mayo with the answer. Oh, what a play! Oh, my goodness. Just impact freshman, period.
I don't know if the numbers can completely do it justice, but it certainly makes your jaw drop what Michael Beasley's been able to do. 11 30-point games for the left-handed freshman from Kansas State. He is leading the Big 12 in scoring at over 26 points per game. He has 24 double-doubles. That's already a freshman record. If he gets one tonight, he will tie the Big 12 record, held currently by Drew Gooden, the former Kansas star, and over 26 points per game, leads the Big 12 as mentioned, and also the third best in the country so far this year. Michael Beasley can score absolutely at will. He has an array of moves. He has range on his shot. He has been known to take a look at the film and break down all of the intricacies of the junk defenses that he faces, including ones he might see from Kansas tonight. He's also been known to spend some time in front of the screen to break down the subtleties of living in a pineapple under the sea. Who can score the ball on any court that he sees? Michael Beasley.
How was my game described? Punishing, smooth, silky, beef, outside, inside, monster. Think you can hold me? Think again. Somebody told me when I was younger, a man do what he wants, sucker do what he can.
Beasley!
I can pretty much do what I want, you know? Take any shot, you know, you can't stop me. My childhood was crazy. Typical bad neighborhood, hanging with the wrong crowds, not knowing where I'm gonna sleep one night and how I'm gonna eat the next, you know. I really don't think anybody else in America, or the world for that fact, can go through what I've been through and still be in the position that I am now. I think there's no feeling in the world, you know, like grabbing your first rebound over a 7-footer or over 3 defenders. People tell me, you know, a lot of people can score. Grab 20 rebounds a game, you can make money in this league. Why do I like SpongeBob? He's a funny guy, you know. I remember the first time I watched his show, you know, I just couldn't stop laughing. SpongeBob is just a stand-up guy. I got SpongeBob sheets, SpongeBob cup holders, SpongeBob underwear, SpongeBob socks. I got everything you can think of.
Here comes Beasley. He won't miss this one.
Should I be player of the year? Nah, that doesn't bother me, you know. I really don't want player of the year. You can score 50 points a night and lose every game and be the player of the year. I want a national championship. I want rings. I don't care about player of the year.
The lack of concern for personal glory would make SpongeBob happy. It would probably earn Michael Beasley a Krabby Patty. He and his boyhood buddy, Kevin Durant, putting up some very similar numbers in their one season in college basketball. Durant last year with Texas, Beasley's numbers very comparable. Durant's team finished 25-10. Let's go live on the floor right now and look at the guy who may be Player of the Year. Is only going to be a Big 12 player.
Well, he certainly makes a great case for Player of the Year. Michael Beasley, the left-hander, he's got everything. And what I really enjoy watching about him is how relentless he is. And you cannot teach relentless. He's got great hands. He keeps the ball alive. He really goes after it. He never surrenders to a blockout. He has seen just about every defense known in this game. And he has handled it, and he keeps on playing. He can step away. He goes down into the post. Frank Martin likes to run some isolations for him. I think he's going to see some box and one in this game. He's also going to have to be guarded by some small forwards, so he's going to have to use his strength in order to find openings when he sees those junk defenses against a very good defensive team in Kansas.
Yeah, you know, I look at Darnell Jackson as the most improved player in the Big 12. He's been fantastic. He's been their most consistent scorer down low on the post. He can score the post. He can play at the high post. Excellent passer. Knock down that perimeter jump shot. And I think that's important because you want to make Beasley play defensively and go at him on the offensive end.
And let's go back in that front line some more. Darrell Arthur, what's he do? Well, he's averaging 14 points, 6 rebounds a game this season. He had a double-double in his last game versus Iowa State. He also leads the team in blocks. He'll be a force inside. This is the go-to guy with Russian Traumers on the perimeter game. Get it done, Big Arthur.
You know, Jay has said it several times today. It's not necessarily Beasley. He's going to get his. Kansas State is going to have to find some offense from other guys. For the most part, Bill Walker has provided that this season, averaging over 16 points per game, top 5 in the Big 12. But Walker had a game against Texas he'd like to forget. 0 for 14. He'll try to find his shooting eye. College Game Day will roll on all the highlights you can imagine coming up as we roll from Fog Allen Fieldhouse. Highly ranked teams getting in trouble. We'll show you the top 5 coming up.
ABC, your NBA Sunday destination. The premier showcase for the best in the game. New floor leader Jason Kidd looks to spark the Mavs against Kobe's surging Lakers. Part of an NBA Sunday doubleheader. Bulls, Cavs, and Mavs Lakers. Coverage begins at 12:30.
College Game Day is driven by State Farm. Great service, great rates. It's all here. Nobody takes care of you like State Farm. And in part by the first ever G8 from Pontiac, the official performance machines of the NCAA.
What a special place, one of the great venues in college basketball. Rock, chalk, Jayhawk. Haunting refrain that sends chills up your spine in this great old building as we get set for the Jayhawks in Kansas State coming up in just a few minutes. North Carolina's head coach used to be the head coach here at Kansas. Carolina on the road taking on Boston College. Roy Williams and the fellas had their hands full, and I mean full, with Tyrese Rice, Jay.
Several helpings of Rice. 34 points in the first half. That's a career high. He got it in 20 minutes. When he gets started, it's very difficult to stop him. He can score in a variety of ways. And he was hot.
You bet he was. BC had a 14-point lead at the half, but in the second half, Carolina, Danny Green.
Well, Danny Green had 18 points in the game, some big threes. Roy Williams getting on his team, and Wayne Ellington coming through the gate after getting the cross screen. An outstanding job of setting his feet. Then standard practice for North Carolina, the back door to Marcus Ginyard.
That gave Carolina the lead. Rice tried to save BC by himself. BC took the lead back. Under 7 minutes to go. Green would hit another three. Rice would finish with 46, second most in BC history, just a couple of points away from the most North Carolina had ever given up. Carolina comes back to win it 90-80. Duke and North Carolina State, Coach K going for number 800. Ben McCauley working inside, getting his own.
McCauley had a big game inside. He beat him up 19 points going to the glass.
In the second half, Chesky team down by 13, and they come roaring back behind the three ball.
Yeah, this is where Duke gets you. You go 13 for 28 shooting threes, getting it done, Wallace and company.
DeMarcus Nelson was 3 for 3, Duke 16-5 run, and then kick it back out to Paulus for another one. Game tied at 85 after DeMarcus Nelson free throw gave Duke its first lead of the second half. McCauley, who had 19 points, turned the ball over. Under 10 seconds to play, Sidney Lowe opted not to foul, and North Carolina State, down just one, had to heave a desperation shot that wouldn't go, and Coach K wins number 800, 87-86. Duke is now 25-3 in 33 seasons. Krzyzewski reaches that 800-win plateau and joins Dean Smith and Luke Olson very high at level.